Admitting we are powerless over drugs and alcohol is the longest step, but the most important to make our recovery last. Hi, I'm Adam Vadgutton, founder and executive director of Recovered on Purpose. In this video, we're diving into the first step from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. We admitted we were powerless over drugs and alcohol and that our lives have become unmanageable. This step is the cornerstone of our recovery journeys, and today, we're breaking down what it truly means and how it sets the foundation for lasting freedom from addiction. If you haven't yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel and let me know in the comments about your first step experience. This helps us get our content to more people needing the message of hope. To start, what makes someone a real alcoholic or drug addict, as explained on page 21 of the Big Book? The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous teaches us about two defining characteristics of addiction: the phenomenon of craving and the mental obsession. These two abnormalities only happen together in someone who truly suffers from the disease of alcoholism or drug addiction. The phenomenon of craving is a physical reaction, an allergy of the body, when we put the first drug or drink in our bodies. Once we put a substance into our bodies, it triggers an uncontrollable need for more and is a unique reaction to drug addicts and alcoholics. It causes us to miss appointments and responsibilities to drink or use. It causes us to pawn things we need or we love. And it causes us to destroy relationships without the ability to choose to stop. This isn't just a lack of willpower. It's a physical response that makes moderation impossible. Moderation we see normies have with impunity to the phenomenon of craving, which brings us to the second abnormality that only happens in the real drug addict or alcoholic: the mental obsession. The mental obsession keeps us trapped even when we're not actively using. It's the constant thought of that next drink or hit, a fixation so powerful it overrides logic, consequences, and even our deepest desires to stay clean. It is the crazy story of the jaywalker who continues to jaywalk over and over, even after being hit by cars and trolleys, breaking his body over and over, unable to stop himself from jumping in front of them. If we are separated from alcohol and drugs where it is no longer physically in our system, our mind continues to play the same old tricks on us that maybe this time I can control it. Maybe this time we won't go as far into it as last time. And we feel restless, irritable, and discontent until at last we can feel the ease and comfort of the first drink or use. Together, these two forces, mind and body, define why addiction isn't simply a matter of choice or moral failing. It's a disease that requires a spiritual solution of action, which begins with the first step. One of the most profound realizations in recovery is understanding that we can never safely use drugs or alcohol again. For many of us, this realization comes through painful experiences, relapse, broken relationships, or the sheer exhaustion of living in chaos day after day. This is often referred to as a first step experience, where we truly see at our core that no amount of willpower can protect us from the next drink or drug, and we cannot control our drinking or use, and we cannot manage our lives when we do. Accepting this truth isn't a sign of weakness. It's a powerful acknowledgement of reality and the beginning of a new way of life. This surrender opens the door to hope, healing, and the willingness to seek help from something greater than ourselves. At the end of my addiction, I'd been trying to stop for 7 years, but could never really get to a point of thinking I was completely and utterly hopeless on my own. I had been going to 12-step meetings every day, Bible study every Tuesday, and church every Saturday and Sunday. I even went to my probation officer at the time, begging him to put me in prison so I could be separated from the pain addiction was causing. But nothing was working. And my first step experience happened in the driver's seat of a car I had borrowed before I was going to my Bible study, when I realized I had tried everything in my power to stop and realized I couldn't. I sat back in that seat and I audibly said to God, I'm done. I'm not going to this Bible study. I'm not going to meetings or church or probation or anything anymore. I can't do this anymore. Please let me die. I remember how honest I was in that request. I didn't want my life anymore. And that was the key to my first step experience. After I heard God whisper to me, He said, "It's time, go." I knew I had an opportunity and I jumped in the work as if my life depended on it, because it did. The first step experience is about freedom. Freedom from lies addiction tells us. Freedom from the cycle of trying and failing to control our use over and over again. And freedom to start a new chapter of life in recovery. If you're struggling to take this step, know that you're not alone. There's a community of people who've been where you're at and found a way out. The first step is not about admitting we are powerless over everything in our lives, or anything in our lives really, except for drugs and alcohol. Notice this step is the only of the 12 steps that even says anything about drugs or alcohol. The rest of them are about accessing this power that gives us the ability to live life and be powerful in every area of our lives in recovery. Admitting powerlessness isn't giving up. It's opening the door to a life you never thought possible. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. And remember, you're worth it, you're loved, and recovery is possible on your road to living recovered on purpose. If you're ready to get to work on the 4th step, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch my TEDx talk about how your story can save lives, click right here.